Before you watch this video, you have to watch episodes 1 through 4 of the Totem Pole, or else you're going to be heavily spoiled. I'm going to be talking past episode 4. So if you haven't watched those first 4 episodes, click on the iCard in one of these two corners. I don't know which one it's going to be in, but click on the iCard and watch the first 4 episodes to really catch yourself up and to help you understand the Totem Pole before I talk about it. Alright? Cool? Cool. Hey guys, what's up? It is the one and only RJ21 here, and welcome to Strategy Talk. I'm actually staying loyal to my word and actually doing something I said I was going to do on my YouTube channel. That's kind of crazy, but I'm actually doing it. So basically, if you didn't watch my year 4 video, Strategy Talk is basically a show where I'm going to be talking strategy about reality shows that I really like. More specifically, the Totem Pole and Big Brother, because those are like 2 of my favorite shows right now. Cool? Alright, so I'm going to be talking about Totem Pole today. If you don't know what the Totem Pole is, it's basically like a YouTube reality TV show that combines all the elements of like Survivor, The Challenge, and Big Brother and takes it all into one, but it really makes itself like its own identity. And it's like, it's a really cool show, and if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to check it out. Like, the team behind this show is just really good, really great people, and it's worth your time. Like, each episode may be like 45 minutes, but it's so worth your time. I definitely recommend it. You have to check it out. Alright, now, on today's episode of Strategy Talk, I'm going to be talking about my rankings for the remaining players in the Totem Pole. So there are currently 10 people left in the game, and I'm going to be ranking them from who I think is playing the worst game to who I think is playing the best game. And we're going to go in like reverse order. Like, I'm going to talk about who's doing the worst, and then I'm going to build up and talk about who's doing the best. All right? Cool. So, to start off this list, we're going to be talking about the worst player this season and the person who is playing the worst game so far. And for number 10, for me, sadly, it should be obvious. It's Madison. Sorry, but it's kind of obvious. Madison is playing the worst game so far. She's put herself into a very, very poor position within the game. She got targeted very early on for being thought of being a part of the trio, which was just a lie Derek made up. But because she was seen as like the head of that snake, she got targeted very early on, and it was just very poor positioning for her in this game. And she does have a secret advantage, but she's not using it to the best of her ability. Like, if you have a secret advantage in the game, that's your leverage. Like, you use that power to help forward your game. But instead of doing that, she kind of just let other people dictate how she's going to use her power. Instead, she didn't use her power, which is smart of her because, like, the majority didn't vote for her because, like, they thought she was going to use her power, which is very smart for her. But in the moving forward in the future, she's still going to be a target, and she's going to eventually have to use that card. But that card is her leverage, and I think if she can use that card, to her advantage and really like make deals with people, like, hey, if I don't use my card, will you keep me safe? This, and that. If she can do that moving forward in the game, I think she'll put herself in at least a tinier, better position than she currently already is. But she's being targeted by a majority of the house, and a majority of the house wants her out because they think she's a snake and such. And so she's probably playing the worst game so far, and she's kind of playing like Alontis. She's like Alontis from season 2 of the Totem Pole in that she's really overdramatic and she's crying a lot. Not to say that like that's a bad thing because it helped Alontis get to the end, but I'm just saying that if you're too overdramatic, people are gonna see you as a liability. Kind of how like Derek like exploded like at the end of episode 3 and like at the beginning of episode 4. Like, he kind of like exploded at like the rest of the players, like, why are you clapping? Like, all of this, and being that over dramatic is just gonna put a target on your back. You're gonna get targeted early on, and then you're gonna be just sent out the door. And I think if Madison can really control that and really like tone it down, she can make it further in the game. I don't think she'll make it to the end, but I think she can make it to at least jury if she like tones it down. Now, number 9 for me, I feel like is another obvious pick, but number 9 for me is gonna be Jackie. Jackie, I think this season she's just going to be used as a pawn. She's gonna be put in the bottom 5 a lot, and everybody's gonna be like, oh, she's fine. Put her in the bottom 5, it'll be fine. She won't really care. And I think because of that, she doesn't have a lot of power within the game. Not like an actual power, but like doesn't have a lot of influence within the game. And because of that, I don't think Jackie can make it far. I think Jackie's in a better position than Madison because Jackie's not necessarily a target. She's just on the bottom. You know, it's better to be on the bottom than to be a target. Because if you're a target, then people are actively going against you. But if you're just at the bottom, then people won't really notice you. But you're not exactly like in a very good position within the game. Jackie has been doing better than Madison in that she's making good relationships and she's talking to other people. You know, something that like, you know, Jada was in the same situation where she was put at the bottom again. But where Jada and Jackie kind of differed in their gameplay was that in Jada's case, she kind of just lied down, gave up, and just died. She just said, I'm going home. I don't really care anymore. I've lost all hope. And like you don't give up in these types of shows. You don't know what could turn this game around. You don't know what you could say to help you move forward in this game. Like she could have said something or spun a couple deals to keep her in the game, but she kind of just gave up. And that's really sad for Jada. And Jackie didn't do that. Instead, Jackie campaigned. She said, "Keep me in this game. You know, I'm a number for you guys. I'm working with you guys." She was a mole essentially this episode. That she was gathering information and giving it up like to the higher players and saying like, "I've given you this information. I hope you can keep me safe." And that's very having information in a game like the Totem Pole is very very powerful. And I think that if she can continue to like at least like get information and like be loyal to people, that can bring her far. But in order for her to truly get to the end, she's gonna have to win like a top of the Totem Pole, or like she's gonna have to make a big move or something so that she's seen as a stronger player, and so she isn't always getting put at the bottom of the Totem Pole. I did this at the beginning of the video, but the way I split up this list was there was 3 tiers. There was the high tier, who I think is definitely gonna win. There was the middle tier, who was they have potential to go far, but I don't know if they'll make it to the end. And then this low tier was like, I don't have high hopes for them making it to the end. That's how I put it. And Jackie and Madison, those were the bottom tier. And so we're out of the bottom tier now. We're going to be moving on to the mid tier. And these are the players who I think they could make it far, but I don't know. They have like I have less hope in them than I do in like the high tier people. So we're going to start off. Number 8 is Tessa. Tessa, the first top of the totem pole. Usually the first top of the totem pole makes it far within their season. Like Nick, he won the first top of the totem pole, I believe, and he made it all the way to 4th place. CJ, she won the first top of the totem pole season 2, and she made it to, I think, at least jury. Maybe she was like the second jury boot. I need to check up on that. But winning the first top of the totem pole is usually very good for you because you can leverage. That's leverage. Like instead of like collaborating with people like on the same level, you're collaborating from the top going down, and that's usually easier for like maneuvering things. But she didn't really do that. She kind of just like put people there and said, have fun, deal with it, instead of like really collaborating. Like she wanted Jace to go home, so I think if she really campaigned like, hey, Jace needs to go home, you know, instead of like her being like, oh, maybe Jace should go home, Ash is going home, okay. Like instead of her doing like maybe that, I think if she was a little more assertive and like saying that I want Jace gone. Like if she said that, then maybe Tessa would have made it. Maybe Tessa would have sent Jace home, and we could have seen that would have been like great entertainment. But I don't know. And I think the reason I put Tessa at the bottom of the low tier is because she hasn't really connected with many people. Like how other people are like conversating. I believe in one of Tessa's confessionals, she said she was just listening through the doors and like really just listening to what people are saying instead of actually like talking with other people. The only person I saw Tessa talk to that episode was like Jada, and like that was about it. And maybe I think Connor and Sabrina, but like I don't remember. Like if Tessa can make better relationships and like mend the relationships that she's hurt, Tessa can definitely make it further in this game. But honestly, I think I see Tessa being an early jury boot. Honestly, like that's just how I see Tessa's position in the game. I think if Tessa can make it far, if she wins another top of the totem pole, she can make a big move there, send Jace home like she wanted to initially. But I just don't see her going to the end. Honestly, sorry, but that's just how I see it. All right, for my number 7 spot, I put Luke. Now, the reason I put Luke towards the bottom of the low tier. Not low tier, sorry. The reason I put Luke at the bottom of the mid tier, like not the bottom, but like more towards the bottom of the low tier. I mean middle tier. Dang, I'm messing up a lot. Anyways, the reason I put Luke there and here at number 7 is because Luke is playing an average game. Like Luke is staying in the middle, not really doing much. Luke is like conversating with people, strategizing, doing all that. And that's obviously useful for building connections further in the game, but I think Luke really needs to connect with other people on a more personal level, and that can really build trust. And if Luke can build bigger alliances with other people, then Luke can definitely make it far in this game. You know, I mean, I saw Luke and Jackie. They have baggage together, so obviously they're gonna like try to work with each other. Not maybe intentionally or like not like blatantly, but like they're definitely gonna like work together like behind the scenes. But I think Luke just needs to win atop of the totem pole to really secure his spot as like, hey, I'm a player, don't mess with me. Maybe that's just what Luke needs to do in order to make it like further in this game to really like sell his point that like I'm not here to play, I'm here to win. But like at the same time, if Luke does that and does it the wrong way, Luke may be losing a jury vote or maybe going home earlier than he expected. You know? And honestly, Luke, if you're watching this, I think you're an amazing person. I think you're a great character. I love how like out there he's being. He's being very sporadic, I should say, or like very like extroverted, and that's something people in Totem Pole really look for. It's like, oh, this person, he's really out there. He's really fun. Maybe I should work with him because he gives me good vibes. Luke, if he capitalizes on that, Luke can definitely make it further in this game. But right now, how I see it, he's probably like, maybe he's probably a mid jury boot, kind of like Tessa. He might go home a little earlier, but I think he's still gonna make it to jury at least. Now, for number 6, so close to being in the top half of this list. Number 6, I put Connor. Now, I didn't have high hopes for Connor going into the season. I thought, oh, Connor, he's probably gonna be like a pre-jury boot or something like that, something kind of lame. But episode 4 just turned it around for me. Connor was like in like the bottom of the mid tier for me, but because of episode 4 alone, I put Connor like up a couple spaces. Connor was playing the middle like Luke and Tessa were, or like more specifically Luke. Connor was playing the middle, and I think Connor's strategy going into this was like to stay in the middle and then at the end make big moves. But because of Derek, he got put into a very like treacherous position and he made a big move. And he asserted himself as a power player. But because he did that, now he's seen as a target. He's like, oh, I thought Connor was just this really friendly, quiet kid, But like now that's like he's willing to make big moves like that and take a power player out like that. Maybe I should be more weary of him. And because Connor did that, look, I really want Connor to go far. I really want Connor to go far because I think he truly does have like a lot of potential to make it like far in this game. Like Connor could honestly make it to like final 6 or final 5 even. If Connor does play his cards right, Connor isn't exactly in like a majority alliance. But like if Connor does get into a majority alliance, like say maybe with like Jace or Luke or Shane or somebody like that, or like Sabrina or something like that, or like like Tessa. If Connor can make an alliance with those people, he can be in the majority, and then they can take out like all the other people, and then that's gonna put Luke in a very prominent position. But Luke's still got to build his resume until the end, because if you make it to final 3 and you say, oh, I made an alliance, I took Derek out, that's not really gonna impress a jury versus somebody like who's done more in the game, like, oh, I've won atop the totem pole, I took out a big threat, this and that. You really got to build up a resume to get to the end. And I keep getting Luke and Connor mixed up. Sorry. If Connor can truly like build a resume for himself to by the time he gets to the end, he can definitely make it. He can definitely win this game. But from where he is right now, I see him being a late jury boot or possibly like cut at like 6th or 5th place, But that's just how I see Luke and his gameplay. So that's why he's at number 6. We're in the top 5, and this is the last person in the mid tier. I was so close to putting this person in my top 4 winners picks. Like, my top 4 are the people who I think have the best chance of winning this game. I was so close to putting this person in the top 4, but I just didn't see how I could. But for me, number 5 on my list is Shane. Shane, the person who's worked on reality shows like Big Brother, he knows this game and he knows it very well. And his knowledge of the game is definitely going to get him far. He made an alliance with Sabrina and Josh very early on, and that's going to be very powerful. Like, if that alliance can play their cards right, all 3 of them can make it to final 3. Like, most definitely. But the reason that I put Shane here at number 5 is because he's playing a very passive role, and being a passive player is not a bad thing, but being a passive player for too long is a bad thing. Shane definitely shows potential to make a big move, but he has the potential, but he's just not showing it enough. Like, Shane, he seems willing to make a big move, but Shane, I think he's too worried about if he makes it to the jury. I think he's a little too worried about, creating bad relationships with the jury members, and they're gonna say, "Oh, I don't want to vote for Shane because he was mean to me when I was eliminated." And I think Shane is too worried about that. And because Shane is too worried about that, he's too scared to make a big move, and he's really trying to play the social and strategic game more than the physical game. But I really like Shane though. Like, I think Shane has potential to make it to the end, like I said earlier. But it's just that I don't know how risky Shane is. Shane's a very safe player, and I don't like safe players, but Shane's different. Shane's one of those safe players who's definitely going to be able to make it to the end. But he might be in, like, maybe not he's definitely not going to be like Victoria from Big Brother 16. But if Shane is too careful and he gets too secure with Sabrina and Josh, maybe Shane will be viewed as a Victoria in that, like, oh, what did Shane do this season? All Shane did was talk with other people. And that's why I'm scared for Shane. But Shane definitely has the potential to make it to the end. He's probably going to come in, like, 4th or 3rd place if I had to make any calls. But, like, that's just how I see it. Now, we're on to the final 4. This is top tier. These are the 4 people who I think have the best chance of making it to the end and winning the Totem Pole Season 3. Now, for number 4, I put Jace. One of the vets, the vet from Season 2. Jace came into this game with a huge target on his back. He was seen as, like, kind of a villain. Not as much of a villain as, like, Athena. But, like, he was definitely seen as a villain on his season. Kind of untrustworthy, but, like, he was still loyal to people. And Jace was seen as a power player on Season 2. So, he kind of came into this game with a big target on his back. Targeted week 1 by Tessa. But, I gotta say, Jace made a great recovery from that. Jace, he made good connections with other people like Josh, Sabrina, Derek, and, like, the majority of people wanted to keep Jace in this house, and originally he was the target. Like, Jackie wanted Jace out, Jada wanted Jace out, Tessa wanted Jace out. Like, a lot of people wanted Jace out, but I don't know, Jace was just able to talk his way out of certain scenarios. He was talking with, like, a majority of the people, and he's like, "Hey, don't vote me out, like, you should keep me safe, there's bigger targets in the house." And because Shane was able to do that, he was able to survive the round. And if Jace continues to do that, he can definitely win this game. Like, Jace has proven he can make it to the end. I think Jace can definitely win this game. But the negatives for his game, he's putting a wedge of mistrust between him and Kadia, like, the only 2 veterans in this game, and he's putting a wedge of mistrust between the 2 of them. And I understand where Jace is coming from in, like, not understanding Kadia's strategy, but you gotta trust her. Like, she's the only other veteran in this game. If you came into this game as the only veteran, then you would definitely be seen as a target. You'd be taken out first. But because Kadia's in this game, she's going to be there to protect him. And because, whoops, my alarm just went off. No. But because Jace is seen as, like, this, like, big target. No, I was talking about the wedge of mistrust. God, I'm so off track. This is kind of like a freehand, but whatever. Jace. Jace put that wedge of mistrust, and if Jace can't put a lot of his trust into Kadia, if he can't solidify that trust, Jace is gonna get cut. Jace is gonna get cut at like Final Four again, and that's gonna be very disappointing to see. Like, Jace is like, Jace is Jace. Honestly, Jace is Jace. Like, Jace is going to do what he thinks. He voted out Jackie. He voted out Jackie the first time. Not the first time, the second time. He just doesn't trust Jackie. And because of that, he went against his alliance. Well, not alliance. His main people that he's like putting his trust in. He went kind of against that and went on his own agenda. And if that majority alliance or like group finds out that Jace did that, he's going to become a target. He's going to be seen as a liability. They're going to kick him off, and then he's going to be voted out. But because Jace is coming back as a veteran and he's able to talk his way out of certain scenarios, because Jace is able to do that, I think he has a very good chance of making it to the finale. But I had to put him at number 4 because of how many negatives he had. My number 3, and the person I think is third most likely to win the game, is the Big Brother Columbus 7 winner, Sabrina. I have high hopes for Sabrina. Sabrina, I think, is playing a very tactful game. I think Sabrina's doing everything correct. She's staying in the middle. She's not making herself a big target. She's making great alliances and great relationships with other people. And those relationships are going to take her further in this game. Like, I think she's aligning herself with the correct people. She's aligned herself with Kadia, Josh, Shane, Jace, people like that. She's like grouped herself with those people, and because of that, she's seen as like a more trustworthy person, or at least she's not seen as the biggest threat, at least in her group. Because nobody knows she's the winner of Big Brother Columbus 7. As far as I know, she never revealed that fact to anybody. If somebody finds out that she's the winner of Big Brother Columbus 7, then that's going to definitely be a target on her back. She's like, yo, this person already won a game. Why should we let them win another season or another TV show? So like they might take her out because of that. But besides that, Sabrina, I think, is playing a very, 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 very good game. I think if I had to give any advice for Sabrina's game, it would probably be to connect with more people. I feel like Sabrina's talking to the same people every time. Every time it's like, oh, it's time to vote. Every time Sabrina's like, oh, hey, Shane, Josh, come here. I want to talk to you. Like it's those same people every time. I think if Sabrina talks to more people, like maybe if Sabrina talked to Tessa or Luke or Jackie for that matter, I think if Sabrina talked to those people more, I think Sabrina could win this entire game because she, like I said, she definitely shows potential in these competitions. She's gotten close both times to winning top of the totem pole, and if Sabrina wins top of the totem pole, she's definitely capable of making a big move. I see more potential in her making a big move than somebody like Shane, who I mentioned at number 5. Sabrina is more capable of making a big move because she knows what it takes to win. She's already won a season of another show. She knows what it takes in order to make it to the end and win. So I think if Sabrina can apply that knowledge from Big Brother Columbus to the totem pole and maybe like change a few things, Sabrina can definitely win. That's all I gotta say. I have really high hopes for Sabrina. Sabrina, if I had to make a final 3 prediction for the finale, Sabrina is definitely one of them. And that's why I have Sabrina at number 3. But the reason she's at number 3 is because the people at number 2 and 1, I think, are just playing slightly better games than her. Like, you can mix 1 through 4. You can mix them around however you want, because I think it's a very slim margin between the 4 of them because they're all playing such good games. But Sabrina is number 3 for my list. We're at the final 2. These are like the last 2 people. You can probably predict who I'm going to say. But for me, my number 2 pick for probably one of the best people playing the totem pole this season, my number 2 is Josh. I have high hopes for Josh. Josh has put himself in a very, very good position within the game. He's seen as, like, I think, the funniest person in the cast. He's seen as like the funniest person in this cast, and because he's seen in such a positive light, people are going to trust him more. Like when Madison was on the chopping block in episode 4, Madison trusted Josh when Josh said, I'm not going to vote for you, even though Josh literally said in his confessional, I'm not saying loyal to that. Or like when Josh put himself in such a trustworthy position where people trust him. People trust Josh and people trust what he says. Cause people see Josh and like, oh, he's the funny guy. He's so nice. I can trust him. People might see him as like the bond. My bond is my word. People may see him as that, and people trust Josh because of that. And I really want Josh to go far. Josh just has all the right components. He's made it close to being top of the totem pole in the end. He's made it close to being top of the totem pole in both challenges. He's making really good relations with other people. And I think if Josh can build a resume by the time he gets to finale, I think if Josh can build a resume, he can definitely win. Just like Sabrina. But the reason I put Josh above Sabrina is that Josh is talking to more people than Sabrina. Like Sabrina's talking to the same people, but Josh is like talking to everybody. He even talked to like Madison and Jada and Tessa and Jackie and all that. He talked to all of them, even though he knew that he had to vote one of them out. He still built those connections with those people and said like, hey, where's your head at? What do you want to do? And he took everything into consideration, and he makes very tactful decisions. Josh is more of a leader than a follower. Like Shane, I didn't mention this with Shane, but I think Shane's problem is that he's a follower more than a leader. I believe in one of like the whisper session, and like one of the times that Shane whispered to Sabrina, Shane's like, I'll do whatever the house wants. Like that's a follower mindset. Like it's not like I want to do what's best for my game. He's just like, I'll do what everybody else wants. Like that's not a power player for me. Like that's not what I want to see. I want to see you make a big move. And Josh, just like Sabrina, Josh is more capable of making a big move like that. But I think because Josh is seen as a more friendly person than Sabrina, I think Josh definitely has one of the best chances to making it to the finale and winning this entire game. If you couldn't tell already, my number one pick for the best player this season and who I think is going to win this game, it's Kadia, basically the queen of the totem pole. Like, she's so well known in the community that everybody loves her, and everybody just brought her like open arms into like whatever they were saying. It's like, oh, Kadia, oh, you want to target me? Oh, that's fine, you're fine. Like, that's like Kadia's coming back as a veteran, like Jace, and coming back into a game as a veteran, you have a lot more influence on people. You have a lot more influence, and you have like a lot more power over other people. Jace has less influence than Kadia because Kadia is put in a more positive light than Jace. Jace was seen as a villain on his season, while Kadia was seen as literally the queen and like this outgoing and fun person that everybody loved. And I'm gonna be honest, before coming into this season, Jace was like my person. Like, I love Jace on season 2. I wanted him to win. But after watching these episodes, man, I underestimated Kadia. If you're watching this, I'm sorry I underestimated you. But Kadia truly is playing the best game right now. She's built great relationships with everybody. She's won a top of the totem pole. Hasn't really cut ties with anybody except for Madison. But like, Madison's being targeted by everyone. So of course, Madison's being targeted by everybody. So of course you're gonna cut ties with somebody who basically has one foot out the door. You know, and she exposed Madison's card to everybody. Kadia's like, yo, Madison has this card. We need to convince her to use it. And so she uses it, wastes it, and then we vote Jada out. And it was almost successful, but Madison, she made the right call, didn't use it. Sorry. But Kadia made one wrong call there, but that's about it. And I think every player is very strong, and I think Kadia is the strongest player this season because of where she stands in the community and how she's perceived. But if I had to say anything negative about Kadia's game, I think that it's like she's being a little bit too bold too early. You know, I think Kadia's being a little bit too bold in that, you know, she put Derek at the bottom, and she was like kind of over dramatic when she won top of the totem pole. Actually, she wasn't even that dramatic. She brought Derek out and helped settle the score with Derek and be like, yo, Derek, you gotta chill. And Kadia squashed that, and that was all good. But then Kadia, like, she may have made an enemy in like someone like Tessa. You know, and Tessa is definitely capable of winning these more physical competitions. I mean, Tessa won the baggage competition, and that was like a completely physical challenge. But what Tessa lacks in, like, I don't know, maybe like personal connections where Kadia kind of lacks in that area. She kind of makes up she may lacks in some areas of her social game, but her other part of her social game is just so strong that it like just negates everything else. She's strategizing this season. She's showing true strategy, and she's like, well, we convince Madison to use her card. She uses it. That's flushed out of the game. Then we vote Jada out. She's shown she she has shown that she has strategical. She has some strategy. She's definitely here to win. She didn't come to make any more friends because she's basically friends with like everybody in the Totem Pole community. She didn't come here to make friends with any of these players. She came to win, and she's proving that. She's playing the best game. She's basically doing everything right. Like everything you would want to do if you're on one of these like reality shows, everything you would want to do, she did. And she's doing it masterfully. And that's why I think Kadia has the best chance of winning the Totem Pole Season 4. I mean, no, dang it. That's why I think Kadia has the best chance of winning the Totem Pole Season 3. Sorry. Yo, it'd be cool if they did like an all-winner season of the Totem Pole. Like, that'd be so dope. But like, that'd be cool. Now, we're going to be talking about the twist that was revealed at the end of episode 4. At the end of episode 4, it was revealed that there will be a battle back between Nicole, Asher, Derek, and Jada. And honestly, I'd be fine seeing any one of those 4 come back, because I think all 4 of them have something to prove within this game. With Nicole, she basically only got to play half the game. She didn't get to play the voting game. You know, so if Nicole came back, I would really be interested to see how she really socializes with other people and like how she strategizes with other people and how she kind of integrates herself into the group coming back into this game. But if she's not careful, she might end up like Janice from season 1, the only other like battle back winner, you know? And now we have Asher. Asher's another case of like, Asher could be like Janice. Asher, I think if Asher does come back in the game, Asher will most likely be like Janice. Asher coming back into this game, she doesn't have any real allies because Madison's not going to take her in. And Asher's so quiet that I'm scared to see, like, if she's put at the bottom of the totem pole, nobody would save her because nobody has any true connection with her. And because of that, she might get taken out early. And if Asher came back, I don't have the highest hopes, but I would love to see how Asher would play the game. Now, Derek. If Derek came back in the game, I would be so hyped. Derek was one of my favorites from episodes 1 and 2, from basically round 1. Derek was one of my favorites. He was such good entertainment. Like Derek, and he was playing the game. He truly played the game. He made big moves round 1. He started rumors, and like that basically got like everybody to target those people instead of targeting him. But his lapse of judgment in thinking Jada was going to be the switch and thinking Connor was going to save him, those were ultimately Derek's downfall. But if Derek comes back in this game, he already has a group of people that not necessarily trust him, but want to keep him in this game because they see him as a bigger threat. And like Shane specifically said, now that Derek's gone, my meat shield is gone, and now I'm a target. If Derek comes back in the game, everybody's going to think to use Derek as their meat shield. And Derek's prone. I think if Derek comes back, that's probably his best strategy, is to just agree with everybody. And if he agrees with everybody, then they won't target him as much. And then he might just coast all the way to Final 3 and win. And, like, I could see that. But, like, the final person who has a chance of coming back into this game is Jada. I have mixed feelings on Jada. Jada was so happy to come into this game. But then she got put in the bottom once and her spirits kind of fell. Then she got screwed over in the top of the totem pole challenge. Then her spirits fell even lower. And then at that point, she just had given up on the game. Like when she got put in the bottom 5 a second time, she just lost all hope in the game. And because of that, she kind of cut ties with like everybody. And because she cut ties with everybody, she doesn't have anybody if she comes back into the game. Maybe Tessa, but like that's about it. One person's not going to protect you from the bottom. Actually, one person is going to protect you from the bottom, but that's going to be them risking their game for you. And when you've clearly shown that you've given up on the game, they're not going to really be incentivized to bring you back, you know? And that's why I kind of fall flat for Jada. But if I had to choose 2 people out of these 4, I would want to see Nicole and Derek come back. out of those two, I want to see one of those two people come back, because I think that those two would bring a lot of drama, a lot of entertainment, and they would probably bring a lot. They would bring a lot if they came back into the game, and I am living to see them. I'm living to see them come back and play this game again. Honestly. Honestly, like, this video is so unprofessional, but we love unprofessional energy. Honestly, like, that's that chaotic energy. That's that chaotic energy that people like these days. But yeah, that's the end of my video. That's the end of my video. That's my rankings on who I think is playing the best game and who I think is playing the worst game. And if any people from the Totem Pole are watching this, you guys are doing a great job. The show y'all have produced is honestly incredible. Like, you guys are doing a great job. This is, like, honestly, like, in these times that we're living in, like, the Totem Pole is the one thing that I look forward to. Like, every week, it's like, oh man, I wonder what's gonna happen on the next episode of the Totem Pole. Like, this is one of the only things that I'm really looking forward to in this quarantine. And so I truly have to thank y'all for bringing us this series in this time. But I hope y'all have liked the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends if you have any of those. And I'll see y'all in the next video. All right, see ya.